And whenever you're ready.
Hi, I'm Sahil, and today we're going to be taking a look at resilience in injured athletes. So, athletes should practice and proactively take action to build their resilience so that in times of injury, they can be better off so that they can recover faster and stronger. So first, let's start by defining resilience. So, resilience is the ability to recover and withstand from great difficulty, and it's to be mentally, emotionally, or physically strong and tough. In life, it's really important to be resilient, whether it be from a chronic struggle or simply like a daily thing or a daily problem, and resilience helps overcome these issues. So as you can see from these two images, these people are working together here to help each other, and the other person is being resilient and pushing the ball to the top of the mountain. So first we're going to be diving into the resilience of injured athletes from a mental standpoint. So, what mental obstacles do injured athletes deal with? So, as you can see, 51% of injured athletes showed signs of depression from not being able to compete. These athletes suffer from anxiety, mood swings, identity loss, and lack of confidence and motivation. Athletes don't feel like themselves when they're not performing on the field or court, and this is a main cause for their identity loss. As you can see from this image, this athlete has a cast on and he's looking in and he's wishing as if he was able to be there. So as you can see from this graphic, both genders exhibit signs of depression post-injury, from feeling that they were hopeless, to feeling overwhelmed by all they had to do, to feeling depressed, so depressed that it was difficult to function. It's clear that the mental health of injured athletes is an issue that shouldn't be undermined, and their resilience is vital to their return and to be able to return strongly. So here's a quote from Tobe Hansen, who's a Bay Area sports injury specialist, and he says, "In my experience, stress is the cause of all injury and pain." So as we discussed earlier, injury and pain leads to stress, and stress is also the cause of injury and pain. So this is kind of like a cycle that all injured athletes deal with, and this cycle can only be broken with strong resilience. So now let's take a look at the physical standpoint of injured athletes. So the physical nature is far more apparent than the mental health of injured athletes, because a lot of us, when we think about injuries, we think of like physically what happened to the athlete, and physical injuries are common amongst all athletes. As you can see from this statistic, 91% of athletes have been injured throughout their careers, and the National Library of Medicine reports that between 2 to 2.44 mean injuries per athlete occur, regardless of the sport or gender. So according to this graph, you could see that all sports have injuries, regardless of whether they're contact or non-contact. So you could see like the bottom three sports, cheerleading, gymnastics, and track and field, have significant injuries as well, despite less than football and basketball, but it's still nothing to take lightly. These physical injuries lead to their actual mental depression, and the mental depression could lead to the physical injuries as well. So, now that we've clearly identified the problem, it brings us to the question: how can athletes be resilient to injury? So here are some solutions for athletes to effectively become more resilient to injury. First, it is proven that training around the injury helps the athlete not only recover faster, but also maintain muscle mass and strength from the injury, which will lead to not only a faster recovery, but a stronger one. And it'll make them feel just as if they were when they got injured first. Next, the next two solutions are more towards the mental aspect, and so participating in team activities could make the athletes still feel as if they are, still feel as if they're part of the team, and they're involving themselves in everything that the team is doing. So it helps them mentally feel like they're not injured and are capable of doing everything that they should be. Lastly, seeking help from coaches, family, and friends helps those who are close to you really talk to you and help you. Helps those who are close to you and talk to you. It helps you cope with the injury better. That's it.
Okay. All right, just bear with me one moment. All right, so we have two questions for you. The first one being, how did your research question evolve as you moved through the research process? Did your research go in a different direction than originally planned?
Yeah, so originally I was only planning on covering the mental aspect of injured athletes, but I realized that the mental and physical aspects are so connected because each leads to the other. So when I talked about the mental aspects, I talked about like the depression and anxiety, but I realized that the main cause of the depression and the anxiety is the injury itself. And from the quote I mentioned earlier, the depression and anxiety could also lead to more injuries. So I decided to also cover the physical aspect and sort of like broaden the topic.
Okay. And then lastly, how does your conclusion respond to any of the other research or sources you examined?
So going back to the conclusion I made last slide, so a lot of the research I examined said that the second one, participating in team activities, mentally could help the athlete, like mentally could help the athlete still feel as if they're part of the team, and that's why I created like so to their limits they could participate in team activities and team bonding, whether it be like watching film or anything that's non-physical or it doesn't like hinder the injury. So I created that solution so that it could take advantage of letting the athlete feel as if they're still in the mental state of being on the team.
Perfect. Thank you very much.